I'm going to do a tutorial for the Valentine little cardstock folio I did the other day. A couple people said, yep, I would like to have a tutorial. So this will be a super fast one just because it's so stinking easy. So I'm going to start, this is the actual folio, and I'm going to start with this feature here on the front. We used to make these a long time ago. I think a lot of people did when we were making, when I did a lot of cards and stuff. And so it's just a pull feature that's really cute. Something comes out the top, something comes out the bottom. So let's start with that. So the cardstock that you're going to need, I hope you can read that. The first three, I'm using black cardstock. And so you're gonna need one that is 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. You'll need a piece that's 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and a piece that measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. That's for the construction. And then I am going to be using a white piece of cardstock as a mat, and that will be 2 1/8 by 3 3/8. Now you could use another mat, but I'm going to be using the ephemera from the paper collection that for my other one. And when I say for my other one, I used ephemera for this and white cardstock down here. So you could do white cardstock on both if that's what you want to do. Okay. Now I am using two punches to make this a little bit easier. I just want a decorative top with a hole because you need to put a piece of ribbon or something to pull out the cards. And so I have this scallop tag punch. And then we're going to be cutting out two little rectangles, and to save myself time, I'm just going to use this punch and just use this top part to make a little rectangular cut, okay? But you can just do regular scissors for that part too. So let's go ahead and start our our scoring of the long piece, which is 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. And I did my pre-scoring ahead of time, but I'll go through it with you again. So the first score you're going to make is at the 3/8 inch mark, so one mark in front of the half. You're going to make a score at 2 7/8, so one score in front of the 3. And our final one is 5 3/8, and that is one score, one line in front of the 5 1/2. Okay, let's go ahead then and burnish those on our score marks. And I've done that. So we're going to be working with this small side first. So I have my 3/8 inch piece on the left hand side. This very far right hand rectangle is a little bit smaller, and I kind of need to know where to make some markings so that I can cut out a rectangular piece so that our mechanism that moves the paper, the slider up and down, will fit in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 1 1/2 inch tick mark from the outside going in. So let me get a pencil. And this is just to help me eyeball it so I can kind of line everything up. So I'm going 1 1/2 inches from the end. Is that what I want? That doesn't look like, maybe I'm gonna go 1 1/4. Let's make it 1 1/4. Yeah, I'm gonna do 1 1/4 instead. So I lied, 1 1/4. And just put a little tick mark. Okay. We want to do the same thing at the bottom, 1 1/4 over, and put a little tick mark so that we can line up where we cut, so that we our mechanism will be kind of lined up also. Now when I say the mechanism, I'm talking about a piece of plastic. This is about 1 inch long, 1 inch wide. I just got an old baggie that I had stored some papers in, and I was going to throw it away, so I just used that. But you can use like a grocery bag, a cellophane bag of some sort, but just cut it 1 inch. My piece is about 12 inches long, but that's too long. We're going to end up trimming it. So if you want to get that ready, I usually have used the plastic bags from the grocery store. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a rectangular piece out that's a little bit larger than 1 inch. So I'm going to show you with my pencil what I'm doing. So I'm going to cut out about a rectangle that's about 1/8 of an inch wide at the top and the bottom so that they line up. Those are the notches, but I'm going to use my punch just so I can make it a little bit more uniform. So I'm just going to use the lid of this jar punch, and I'm going to line it up so that the 1/2 inch is in the center. Okay, so I just made a little cut there, and then I'll do the same thing on the opposite end. Again, you just need it a little bit larger than 1 inch, just a hair. And that's about right. Okay. So let me erase those marks. Even though you won't see them, it'll still bother me. So okay. So now we're going to take that 1 inch piece of plastic that we cut. Again, this is 12 inches, that's too long. And we are going to place that in that channel that we just cut, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and tape this together so it makes a circle. And we don't want it too tight, but you don't want it too loose. You want it just right. And I'm gonna be using score tape for that. And so let me just put a little piece of score tape on one end. And this is 1/4. It's hard to see on my board. Or did I just put on it? So that's what we'll use to attach it. So then wrap it around. This is a little bit fatter right here. So you see what I just did? As I wrapped it around, I want to make sure that goes in between what we cut. And I have it, it's a little bit tight right here. So it looks like this, I didn't cut this cellophane exactly 1 inch. So let me kind of adjust that a little bit and cut it so it's closer. It's right in this area. That's, let's see, what scissors do I want to use? Not those are not good. Oh, for Pete's sake. I think that's about good. Let me try it again. So put my tape. Nope, I still don't like it right here. It's too fat. My eyes aren't very good. I'm trying to see where this plastic is, and gonna work. Okay, so I'm going to remove the backing of this score tape. And I'm just going to place this plastic on top of it, not too tight, not too loose. And I'm going to cut off the excess. And so now test it to make sure that it slides okay. I don't know what my issue is, but I don't like how that's not sliding as well. There we go. Okay, I keep saying there we go, and then I see something I want to fix, so hold on. Okay, finally, I think I'm happy with it. Whew. All right, so I have, I'm going to be placing another piece of tape on the top here. And this is where we're going to do the attachment of the longer piece. Make sure you just get that tape on the plastic and not on the cardstock. Okay. Now the longer piece was 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. And like I said, we need something to pull. And so we want a hole of some sort. So you could just angle the corners and use a hole punch in the center. I have this decorative punch that I want to use. So I'm gonna do that. And it's a little bit too big for the channel, so I got to put it in through the top. Okay. And then I got to center it in here. And let me clip off that excess. Okay. I don't know what is going on with my scissors. Okay, so this is what I have. It might be easier to put your ephemera on now, so let me kind of dig through what I have left. I don't know that I have that much, to be real honest. Here we go. Actually, I do have a lot. So I want it to be about actually, no. I could have actually used this. That would have been cute. Huh. I should have checked that before. I need one that's long enough. So this says hugs and kisses and Valentine wishes. I think I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to trim off that top part. So let me clip that. And I'm just going to glue that like so. I think it's easier to do it before we do all the attaching. So let's get that taken care of. And I'm going to put it in the center, or close. Okay. And you got to remember how to do this. Give me a second. Okay, before I attach this, I was going to go ahead and put my ribbon in so that I can pull. So this is a little bit longer than 6 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that through, take that up and around, down, push that back through. Hold on, what is my problem? Up and around. That back in through the front. And now pull that up through there. It's one of those days, people. Okay, let me tighten this a little bit and then I'll trim it. Okay, this is the fringe ribbon from Country Craft Creations. I like it. Okay, so now I have the 3/8 inch piece down toward me, and I have my tape on the upper left-hand side, and I'm going to glue this down on. I'm going to put it on top of that tape. I don't want to go over this score mark because then it won't close correctly, and I'm not even going to go over into where this little cutout piece is. So let me remove the backing. And I'm just going to lay this flat. Okay. Give it a little burnish there. Now flip that piece over so you see the back of the plastic. And now this time we're gonna put some tape on the right-hand side, right underneath the ribbon part. I'm gonna put a little piece of tape there, that 1/4 inch score tape. Okay, remove the backing to that. Not yet. This is what's going to go on this side. So I have the last piece that's 2 1/4 by 3 1/2, and then this white piece that was 2 1/8 by 3 3/8. I'm going to go ahead and glue that on now, just so it's easier to attach. And I guess I could find my, you can stamp on here, you can leave nothing and just write on it. You can find a sticker, whatever you want to do. And center that. But I do need a place to write, but I do want to add some color to it. So let's see if I have something small. Love notes, a little bit too wide. I could cut that. That's a possibility. So sweet is a possibility. Be my Valentine. That'd be cute. Sorry, I should have had this picked out ahead of time. I'll just use the cupcake. I think that's kind of cute. Let me trim it off. All right, before I glue this though, I noticed that there's 2 little angle cuts down there, so I'm just going to try and match that up and angle cut the top. Okay. And I'm just going to glue that on. You don't want anything too thick, so I'm going to burnish it real well. So it's laying down nice and flat. Okay, so let's go back. This is what we just did. We fold this over so our ribbon is on the right, and we put tape at the top right hand side now so that it's underneath the ribbon. We're going to place this on top, but we're going to turn it upside down first, and I have my sentiment on the left. Okay, so upside down, sentiment on the left, and we're going to attach that to that piece of tape. And again, just watch to make sure you're not going over any score lines. Give that a burnish. Okay. Now we are going to close this up, but when I attach it, I'm not going to just close it and attach it. I have to make sure that I attach it behind that piece I just glued on, like so. So this 3/8 inch piece, we folded it down. We're gonna lift that little piece that we just attached with the sentiment just a little bit so this can go up and around, and that's how we'll glue it. So I'm gonna put some glue on there. Bringing that over, I'm going to tuck it behind that little card that we just adhered. And let's burnish that. was not as smooth of a tutorial as I thought it was going to be. Sorry about that. Hopefully by watching it all the way through, you got everything done in the right order. Okay, and so then when you pull this, the bottom will come out. Okay, so it's got a real smooth mechanism if you did everything by watching your score lines and all that kind of stuff. And then you can decorate the front, and that's what I have on the front piece of that little folio. Clean up for the next part. So you can see that I matted it, and then on foam, I took one of the pieces of ephemera and matted it, and then I have that up on foam dots, and then I attached it to the front cover. So I'll move that to the side. You can decorate that. The next part, you guys are gonna be shocked at how easy this is. I mean, it's so easy. It's just a trifold with 2 different boxes to store things, okay? So let's go ahead and work on that part next. You only need a few pieces of paper here. You can get this made using 2 12 by 12s. Let me clean up my mess. I can't stand to craft in a messy area. Okay. Here we go. One piece is 6 by 9 3/4. You have 2 pieces that are 5 1/2 by 6. One piece that's 7 3/4 by 5, and one that's 7 3/4 by 4. Now, when you're cutting the 7 3/4, if I were you, I would make it actually a hair shorter than 7 3/4 because we want the book to close nicely. So this is the same as 12/16, so maybe cut it 11/16. Both of these, instead of 7 3/4, 7 11/16 would probably be a little bit safer. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that's what I did for this example too. Okay, so let's start with the 9 3/4 piece. We'll do our scoring. Let me get my scoring tool here. All right, so we're just going to make 2 score marks on each end. And so what I need for you to do is to score at, with the 9 3/4 inches across the top, score at 1 inch and at 2 inches. And then rotate it so it's still 9 3/4 across the top, but opposite end, 1 inch and 2 inches. Okay. You do not do any scoring on the 5 1/2 by 6 pieces. So let's go ahead and construct the base part. That's it, you guys, that's the base. So let's go ahead and burnish on the score marks. And I do put several layers of paper on when I'm decorating, just to give it a little bit more stability because there is no chipboard. So this is the part where you're going to have the 2 stacked boxes. So we need the doors on top, and that's where the 5 1/2 by 6 pieces come in. So we're just going to place that on top of that first score mark. So we have a 1 inch gusset. So I'm going to go ahead, when I attach them, I'll lay it down flat. And I'm just going to put it on that first 1 inch piece. Okay. Don't go over your score mark. And we're going to do the same thing to the opposite side, and that becomes our 2 flaps. I'm going to cut off, I have a little bit of excess here. And now let's attach the other side. Like so. You can actually use your scoreboard to help guide you to line it up, but I'm just going to eyeball it and make sure that it's lined up top and bottom. Don't go over the score mark. And then if you have any excess, you might want to give that a little trim. And again, I have just a little bit that I don't like to see. And a little dab of glue there. Okay, so that is going to be the base of our book. That's it. Can you believe that? Okay, so there we go. Now the only thing we have to add is the 2 pockets that go in the center piece, okay? You'll need 2 pieces. This is the 7 3/4 by 5 and the 7 3/4 by 4. Again, I would make it 7 11/16 just to make it a hair smaller. Okay, and we are going to score on 3 sides of both of them, and the scoring is the same on both. So let's start with the 5-inch piece. Where's my? We're going to score at 1/2 and at 1. 1/2 and 1. Rotate it 1 time so that the 5 inches is across the top. Score at 1/2 and 1. And then 1 final turn, 1/2 and 1. Let's go ahead and do the second piece the same way. So this is the 4-inch piece. 7 3/4 is across the top. Half. I might have said 9 before, but it's 7. 1/2 and 1. Rotate it 1 more time so that the 4 inches is across the top. You're going to score at 1/2 and 1. 1 more time. 7 3/4 is back on top. 1/2 and 1. I'm going to go ahead and burnish my score marks. And really, if I do 1 box with you, you'll know how to do the second box. So to keep the video shorter, maybe I'll just do that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, what I would like for you to do, at least what I'd like to do, is I'm going to cut out the 3 squares along the outside. So if you notice, I have 4 squares in the corner. I'm going to number these 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to leave 1 intact. We're going to take away 2, 3, and 4. So I just cut straight on the score line. So there's 2 that I took out. Don't want any little pieces hanging over the side. Okay, and now I'm going to take out this piece down here. So that's what it looks like. Looks like little stair steps. So let's do the same thing over here. Taking out the 3 squares on the outside. And you can do that to your second one also. So we want to release these little squares that we left on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut straight up on the score. So now I have it loose. It's just connected on one side. And I'm going to slightly miter on the outside. And I'm going to cut off just a hair down there. Okay. Release it by cutting straight. Is that how we want to do it? Yeah. Yeah, straight up on the score. And I'm going to slightly miter on the outside there so that they are now free and are just attached on one side. Okay. All right. Now, it is going to make your life much easier if you put your pattern paper on now instead of after you connect it to the other piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my matting on, and I'm gonna mat the inside. And so this measures about 5 5/8. So I'm gonna cut a piece that's 5.5 long, and it is 3 inches tall. So I'll make it 2 7/8, and then I'll cut out 3 small pieces for my 1/2 inch sides. So I'll cut these 3/8 inches wide. Same way at the bottom, 3/8 of an inch for the bottom. Okay, so I will put my pattern paper on both of them, and then I'll just have you attach it to your book. All right, I went ahead and put my pattern paper on both of the boxes before I fold them up, just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to put this small one together for you and just show you it's real easy, and then you can do the larger one the same exact way. So notice I only put paper on the score closest to the center on each of these, and then just the first one closest to the center here. So it's the outside 1/2 inch pieces that don't get any paper. What I need for you to do is on the side, I'm going to have you do a slight miter at the bottom, just real slight, and I'm going to do it on this one also. And you can leave this one straight down at the bottom. So we have these 2 little tabs that we released, and that's what we're going to do first. So I'm going to get 2 clips handy so that I can use those as extra fingers. And I'm going to place glue on the tab. And I'm going to bring that over so that it connects to this piece that has the pattern paper on it. And I'm going to pinch it, and I want to make sure it makes a perfect corner, so make sure everything's lined up. And once I'm happy with it, I'm just going to bring in a clip to hold it, like so. So you can see it's lined up. And now I'm going to do the other side the same way. So I'm going to put glue on the tab. I'm going to bring that to the inside and wrap it around so it connects with the other piece that has that pattern paper on it. I'm going to pinch it together, make sure that everything's lined up nice and neat there. Okay, give that a second to dry. So I've already done that on this one. This is what it's going to end up looking like when it's done. It's going to have the 1/2 inch on 3 sides. Okay, just give that a second. While you're waiting, you might want to decide what ribbon you want for a closure. I'm going to go ahead and use this, and you'll need 2 pieces. I would rather they be cut a little bit too long, so maybe 2 pieces that are about 10 or 11 inches long. Let me let that dry. And if you bring your booklet back over, you're going to need 1 piece attached to the front cover. And so I just tried to center it, eyeballing it, put a little glue there, and then put my ribbon, and I used a little score tape to keep that from moving around. And now we need to place our second one. And so what I like to do is open up the book, and the right hand side I'm going to push down so I see that 1 inch section. And then I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to use my pen, and I'm just going to draw lines to show me where to put that ribbon. And I'm going to place glue in between those 2 lines, like so. And then I'm just going to lay down my ribbon. Give it a second. I'm not going all the way to the edge. And I'll get a piece of score tape just so that it stays in place. And so now it will tie and keep it closed. And you can go back and trim the excess, but I'd rather it be cut too long at first. Now when you put your box together and put it in here, mine doesn't line up from side to side. Mine has a little bit of a gap, and I kind of like that look, that you can see a little bit of the back side here. But if yours goes all the way from side to side without a problem, that's great. But mine usually has a little bit of a gap by the time I put those boxes in. All right, so now that we have those tabs glued in, we're now going to glue. The two sides are going to go to the inside, and the bottom we will fold up. Okay, so that's why we kept the bottom piece straight and we could only miter the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and place glue down there in that bottom corner. And I'm going to bring it up, and I want to again make sure that it's lined up as straight as can be. And then I'm going to have my clip ready. Okay, and we're going to do that to the other side also. Placing glue in the corner. Line it up nice and straight. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry now for a second. So now I would do a dry fit of your larger one, and what I mean by that is before you do too much, you want to make sure that when you place this in, it's between your score lines, and when you glue it, it should not cross over so that your book will close without any gaps, or so that it's not over here so that it doesn't close correctly. It needs to be in between those two score marks, okay? And again, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in now. You can attach one and then come back and attach the other one on top. You can attach both of them together first and then put them in the book. It's up to you. But I'm just gonna go ahead and do this one first. And again, really make sure it goes all the way to the bottom, but you've really got to check those sides. So let's go ahead and put our glue on. And this is the larger one. So I'm going to turn my scoreboard to the side. And I'm going to bump it up against the ridge so I can kind of help use that as a guide to how low I need to take it. And make sure the top doesn't, sometimes the top wants to pucker out. So push the top in. I'm just going to do that for a second, and then I'm going to get a tool that I can use to burnish those sides down on the inside. All the way down to the bottom. Good, that worked. Let me just kind of take a look to make sure it's laying down. It's the bottom part I'm worried about. I just gotta make sure that that 1/2 inch stays down. And then we're going to attach this one on top of that one. Again, using my scoreboard a little bit to guide me. And as we attach it, just make sure that you're pushing the tops in a little bit because they like to kind of spread out, I've noticed. Then it's too wide then. And I want to line that up with the bottom. So I'm using my hands as a guide to make sure it's flush. I think that feels pretty good. And I'm just going to clip that for a second. And I'll take this and run it along the bottom there. Now, if it bothers you that you can see that black, you can put this on the box first and then go and pattern paper that, but which is what I did with this one. I put the pattern paper on the top one, attached it to the back box, and then I pattern paper that one, so you don't see those little black tabs. It's up to you. I would prefer it this way, but to be real honest, I forgot. And so you can see the black tabs. You can run a piece of paper down there if you want. You know what? Because it kind of bothers me, I think that's what I would do. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, I need this one. I'm going to cut a piece that's about 1/2 inch. And it's going to be 3 inches tall. And then I would just glue that right on top. I'd rather it be like that than to see the black. Sorry about that. I don't like to see those black tabs. So this is how I'm going to fix my mistake. Is there anybody out there saying, no, don't glue it first. You got to attach it before you glue? Because I didn't hear you if you did. It's not as noticeable. I'm going to have things in the pockets anyway. I'm trying to justify, like, oh, it doesn't bother me. And I'll do that one more time for the other one. And now you won't notice unless I told you. Nobody's going to notice that. So now I'll glue this one on top of this little black tab. You would think I'd never done a tutorial before. Holy moly. Oh, jeez. That's better for me. And then remember, as you decorate, you might want to put extra layers of matting just to make sure that it's more stable. However, I would not put extra layers of matting here because you don't want that to get in the way of your book closing. You want it to close up nice, okay? Like so. And what else do I need to tell you? When you decorate this, keep it flat so that this can lay down flat. And that's about it. So let me show you. I'll put a picture of this one up when I'm done with it. But this is the one that I have that's finished. All right. All right. I will put a picture up of the next one that once it's done. And if you have any questions, let me know. I apologize about putting the paper on before attaching the two little boxes together, but it's not the end of the world. All right. Oh, where's the other one? Hold on. And then if you also have any questions about the slider, which now I can't find it. I was going to show you one more time. Oh my Lord. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. If you have a question about either one of these two things, just let me know in the comments below. And I do have a couple links down there if you want to find the paper at Country Craft Creations. If you have not yet used Artisan cardstock, you've got to give it a try. It's awesome, and I'll link that below. And then this is the Valentine's Day paper by Echo Park. Okay, everybody have a good one.